Gavin Newsom went on to meet the press and slammed Donald Trump for his recent racist campaign remarks. Newsom says he's getting more and more unhinged every day. Also in this next clip, Newsom is going to give a master class on how to defend from the criticism that Joe Biden is too old to run for president of the United States. If you like this video and these clips like this, share it with your friends. Also subscribe if you're new. And now, Gavin Newsom.
We know that there are reports that former President Obama warned President Biden not to underestimate Trump.
Never.
Do you believe that Democrats are underestimating Trump in this moment, his strength potentially in a general election?
I think he's weakness masquerading as strength. I think he's more unhinged. He's less interesting than he was even a few years ago. I mean, you've heard his comments just this week, more just overt racist comments that he's made. It's just extraordinary how quickly he is unraveling in real time, including just on basic policy issues like repealing Obamacare, which is overwhelmingly supported, the highest ACA enrollment that we've seen in decades, rather in years and years, just the last few weeks. So the reality at the end of the day, he's unhinged. He's a much weaker candidate than he was a few years ago. Democrats are stronger. We're winning 18, 20, 22, 23. You saw in New York 3. We continue to win. We continue to outperform. And Donald Trump is a big part of that, and he's going to be the nominee of the Republican Party.
And yet, Governor, there are some pretty stark numbers that you're facing. 76% of voters say they have real concerns about President Biden's ability to serve a second term. Do you think it's responsible for Democrats to put him at the top of the ticket, given those concerns?
Responsible. I revere his record. I mean, what he's done in 3 years has been a masterclass, close to 15 million jobs. That's 8 times more than the last 3 Republican presidents combined. The economy is booming. Inflation is cooling. It's 0.6% more than it was in the summer of 2020 at just 3.1%. Wait a second. We have American manufacturing coming back home, all because of Biden's wisdom, because of his temperance, his capacity to lead in a bipartisan manner, which is an underrepresented point. And so I have great confidence moving forward. So the answer is absolutely all in terms of the next 4 years of Joe Biden.
These voters, though, are not complaining about his record. They're talking about concerns about his ability to beat Trump, who you've called a threat, essentially, to the democracy. But in private, we've heard a lot of his allies say publicly, in private, he is strong. He's in command. Yeah. He's forceful. Does he need to do more to show?
I think he's doing everything he needs to do. I mean, he's got an extraordinary record. He's doing everything he needs to do on Ukraine at the moment. He's doing everything he needs to do to reconcile and wrestle some common sense as it relates to a bipartisan approach to address the issue of the border, where the Republicans couldn't take yes for an answer because they don't want to make that a political issue. He is leading. And so, no, from my humble perspective, not only the last 3 years have been extraordinary. I've been out with, as you know, on the campaign trail. I was just out in California. I've seen him up close. I've seen him from far. But here's my point. It's because of his age that he's been so successful. It's because of the wisdom and the character that's developed over years that we have the CHIPS and Science Act, the Infrastructure Bill, and the PACT Act, and the Safer Communities Act. And because we've seen these bipartisan accomplishments, because of his capacity of understanding, because of his leadership. So the opportunity to express that for 4 more years, what a gift it is for the American people. And as a Democrat, what a gift for me to make the case for the leader of our party, Joe Biden.
Let's talk about you, Governor. Days after that special counsel report came out questioning the president's age and his memory, the Washington Post reported that anxious Democrats reached out to top Biden donors to ask, quote, when is Gavin getting in? Or how about Whitmer or Shapiro? The buzz has not stopped. I know you've been asked this before, but do you still rule out a run in 2024?
You got to be kidding. I am here celebrating the extraordinary accomplishments of the Biden-Harris administration, making the case that we need to make to lift up the issues, lift up the record, drive contrast with the Republican nominee to be Donald Trump, so that we can win for 4 more years.
Have you gotten any calls, Governor, encouraging you to run?
It's all idle chatter. It's all you know what? That's a sideshow. I think what Democrats need to do is worry less, do more, continue to overperform as we have, continue to win, make the case. Don't be ashamed of 4.1% GDP over the last 2 quarters. Don't be ashamed about the alliance management of the Biden-Harris administration. Don't be timid about making the case for the record of this administration.
So you're ruling it out 100%.
I wouldn't, it's not even an interesting conversation. Okay. And by the way, I think it's a damning conversation, frankly, the other side wants us to have. And trust me, I know the mishigosh coming from the other side. I'm deeply mindful of the anger machine and all the entertainment industry out there on Fox and elsewhere that love ginning this stuff up. At the end of the day, not only has this train left the station, but we get to enjoy a record of accomplishments as we make the case in a re-election, the likes of which we couldn't have even dreamt of, even as a Democrat, the last century.
Trump says he's ready to debate Biden right now. Should President Biden debate?
Of course he's not. I mean,
but should President Biden debate Trump in the general?
Biden beat Trump in the prior debates. I look forward to it. I mean, this is a guy, by the way, that's just pure, 100%, pure projection on a guy who refused to debate in his own primary. Back to my point, weakness masquerading as strength.
I would rather have President Biden, the slow, happy grandpa who is, strolling his way to freedom and democracy, rather than the crotchety, ego-maniacal grandpa who is completely in it for himself and is slowly marching towards a dictatorship and fascism. I mean, they're two pretty clear choices we have here, but no, Kristen Welker, the Meet the Press host, let's talk about Biden's age. No, let's not talk about Trump's age. Let's talk about Biden's age. No, let's not talk about his accomplishments. No questions on the Chips and Science Act. No question on the infrastructure bill and what we've done to help improve not only like roads and bridges here, but also build our infrastructure up for a sustainable future, right? No questions, Kristen. No, she wants to know if Biden's too old, if it's responsible for him to run after a rocket ship of an economy that he's led. And then once Gavin Newsom gives the answer and says, look, it's going to be a gift in order to have 4 more years of President Biden. That's a gift. She immediately, it just isn't listening and says, oh, so, people said that when criticism of Biden's age came out, with the recent special counsel report and the documents case, and, the special counsel said that Biden had some memory issues. There was criticism, and people called you, this is Welker, people called you, Gavin Newsom, and said, could you run? And Newsom says, look, like I just said, how excited I am. And people have been running campaigns for almost a year now. Like, Kristen Welker, you're not new to this game. So I just don't understand where these questions are coming from. Who's producing this? Now, one point that she did make was that 76% of Americans have concerns about Biden's age right now. And that's an important number. But I have to keep reminding myself that Joe Biden has been working for 3 years. Meanwhile, the entire Republican Party and right-wing media have just been attacking his age because they've got nothing. They tried to impeach him over some phony scandal with his son. Turns out it was all lies concocted by Russians. They've got absolutely nothing. And so now all they're left with is his age.